Hey, Jimmy, there's always something new to learn. And here in Real Kitchen, we learn by playing with our food. Today's episode, we've got a cool, crisp Vichyssoise. A what?
A what?
A what? A Vichyssoise, a cold potato leek soup. We're gonna cook up all of our ingredients. But we're gonna add a few extra ingredients in there.
It's cold, but you're gonna cook it?
Don't interrupt me. We're gonna add a couple of fun ingredients in there, though. We're going to add some apples in there, and we're also going to add some thyme. Apples and thyme. Everybody's got time for apples.
I've never had apples in a Vichy.
I haven't either. We're going to try it and see what happens, because what do we do here in Real Kitchen? We play with our food. All right. And along with that, we are interviewing Toby Eppard here, and he is in our brewing program, and we're going to interview him and ask him our fun road kitchen questions. Toby, how you doing today?
I don't know.
Great. I'm just awed by what I see here. Lots of great ingredients. I don't think I've ever seen apples in a Vichyssoise.
I don't think we have either, Toby.
No, I
but
haven't either.
again,
kind of throwing this in here.
Yeah, we're going to throw that in and see what it's like, and you know,
We're trying new things today,
we're going to
which we usually do. The apples in the Vichyssoise, and then we're going to play with some Colorado peach fruit wine, and we're going to throw it on nitro. I've been playing with nitro on the show for a while now, but we're going to put some wine on nitro. We're actually testing it out for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a dinner tomorrow that we're doing, a big 5-course wine tasting using some Ottimo wines, and we're just testing with this Colorado wine. But
very good.
all right. I know you need to get this boiling.
I do need to get this going, so I'm just going to go ahead and go right up to
1800.
up to high power here.
What does 1800 mean?
All right, so we'll add in our butter here.
Turn it up to 1800?
I did. It's up to 1800 here. All right.
1800 what?
I don't know.
Kelvin.
Maybe
I don't know who
Kelvin.
Kelvin is.
I don't know, joules?
Joules?
That's not right.
Oh. That is chemistry.
BTU,
That
that's
is-
way too
that
many
is chemistry,
BTUs.
though, right? Joules, isn't that chemistry there? All right.
No.
What?
Electrical engineering.
Oh, electrical engineering. Okay. I thought there was something on
All right, so you got the butter hot.
Yeah, I do have the butter hot. Now I'm going to add in our leeks, and we're going to sweat our leeks.
Don't sweat
Okay.
it though.
Don't sweat it. Yeah,
it's an
you
easy
just
process.
You just don't want to saute it. We don't want any brown color here. All right. We want all just the natural colors of the vegetables that we're using here. So we're going to throw in some salt as well. That salt will help pull out the moisture of our leeks. All right. Kind of soften up that harsh onion flavor that leeks sometimes have.
Get the leek liquid out.
Yeah,
So
they
you
get
can
the-
start to cook it down.
That's right. Leak the liquid out of the leeks. Is that,
It's a leaky leek.
that's a leaky leak.
Uh,
Leaky leaky? That's the name of a highway in Hawaii. All right. So we added in our leeks here. All right. I'm going to add in our garlic here as well. And this is
so when you're doing
It's a great-
aromatics, you always do garlic towards the end, right?
yeah, I mean, we're not looking to saute anything here, so we can put it in now and let that garlic cook. All right.
We got a fancy dishwasher now.
Yeah, we do. All right.
Okay, so it's a cold soup, but you have to cook it first, right? So we
Yeah,
gotta
you do have to cook
everything
it
down,
first. Yeah,
so-
because it has raw potatoes in it, right? So we need to make sure that we cook those potatoes. We cook the leeks because we are going to blend everything, and so we want it to be smooth. Okay.
So in the brewing world, we call that biological stabilization, right?
Oh.
Biological
Biological
stabilization.
right? We
Interesting.
don't want anything growing in there that's not supposed to be growing in there.
No, you definitely don't want that.
And killing just sounds aggressive. Biological
Right,
stabilization.
right. It's a
I
kind
like
of
it.
gentler world, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm going to throw in our little sprigs of thyme there. All right.
And we've talked about this before. I really like just doing the sprig of thyme in there, and I forgot on that last recipe we did with the beans.
Mm-hmm.
You just throw the sprig in there as it cooks. The leaves start to fall off. The oils still get in there, and then you can just pull the whole thing out, and you just take the stem out. You don't have to sit there and try to take all the leaves off of these and then get it into the soup beforehand. So
That's right.
it's kind of a nice, easy way to do it.
That's it. Sometimes you don't have time to peel the thyme. So. Throw that in there. Boom. Okay. Very good. All right. Throw in our potatoes. All right. Now we'll throw in our apples as well. And drain the water off these. It's storing.
That's a fancy strainer you got there.
I know it is really fancy, isn't it? And it's cheap. You don't have to go out and buy a new one.
Oh, you have two.
Hope. Yeah, you have two of them. All right.
Toby,
All that.
do you like soups? We've had this conversation in the office before. Does anybody?
Honestly, I love the blended soups, right? Hot or cold, I just like the textures that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a great soup place. It's long been gone in the Golden, but their specialty was doing soup, and we would literally, roll out of the R&D offices at 11 o'clock, and we wouldn't be back till 1, and it was just that was the main course. Those blended heavy soups, squash based.
Yeah, squash.
Oh,
Delicious.
squash soups.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Nice.
Yeah. And like squash soups, this is, with fall just around the corner. This is actually a great fall soup. If you're looking for more of a summertime cold soup, a gazpacho's better. At least I think so.
I like Vichy all the time.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've had a Vichyssoise. Very long time.
It's one of those classics I just love because the texture, it's creamy. I don't know. I love leeks. I love potatoes.
I love leeks too.
So
yeah.
maybe that's why.
It always brings me back to remember the first Batman movie where the butler served everybody Vichyssoise and the comment was, "It's cold." It's Vichyssoise. Of course, we all know what that means, right? Actually, have you ever had a cold soup that's pear-based?
A pear-based cold soup?
It was a soup I had once that was made with pears, and then they mashed it all up together, and it had this wonderful kind of that grainy characteristic of pears that you get.
Oh, okay.
It was outstanding.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I've had cold melon soups, cold berry soups.
It's along the same lines.
Yeah. When I used to work at the Farrington House, we had a cantaloupe soup, a cold cantaloupe soup, and then we had another one called a super chilled blueberry soup. It was really great.
All those lines, right?
Very, very good.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I love about cooking, right? Brewing is just cooking. I mean, if you really think about it.
It really is. Yeah. You're what we're doing here making soup is we're extracting the flavors. What's a little different is we're looking for different textures. We have different sized vegetables and everything, plus the saute.
Modify your process to encourage one or the other. That's exactly right.
Yep, that's it.
So
Okay,
on that note,
so
you got something to say?
Yeah, just really quick. So I've added some vegetable stock to it. I needed to add a little bit more liquid, so I've added just a little bit of water. So we're going to bring this up. Oh, it's up to a boil now. Love these induction burners.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They come up to a boil so incredibly fast.
At 1800,
I know, 1800. What
we should look that up and see what it is.
We should. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that down though, so that way I don't lose all of my liquid. But we still just want that nice little simmer. We're going to cook this until the potatoes are soft. Then we're going to add in our heavy cream and a little bit of half and half. Okay, bring that back up to a boil. And we'll puree everything, season it up. I didn't bring a chinois with me to.
A what?
A what?
Yeah, a chinois for your Vichyssoise.
A chinois Vichy.
Oh my.
Chinois Vichyssoise.
Say what? Okay, so usually though you push it through a chinois or a very, very fine mesh strainer, something similar maybe like a cheesecloth. All right.
Or a Tammy.
Or a Tammy. That's it. I knew a Tammy once, and it kind of gives it a smoother texture. But we'll just leave this as is, and we will.
Well, the
blend it
Vitamix
make it
though.
smooth.
And so, using a Tammy or a chinois and everything, if you have just like a food processor and you really need to push it through and get that fine texture, that's fine. But
Yeah.
the Vitamix will atomize everything to the point where it has that silky smooth, creamy texture that you're talking about with your blended soups that you love so much, Toby. So while this simmers,
Yeah, let's
why don't you
talk
tell
to
us a
Toby
little bit about what your role is here?
So, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I'm pretty new to the place, right? I've only been here about, 15, 16 days now. So it's like I was telling you guys, I didn't even know where the bathroom was for a while. So I've got that all squared away. And,
15 days in, we just randomly pull you into a cooking show.
Yeah, right. Sit down here, answer a few questions. Not a problem. Okay, glad to be here, learning about cooking. But my role in the university is to coordinate really what we're doing with regard to the brewing sciences, right? And one of the big emphases that Metro offers that you won't find in a lot of other universities is this isn't just about the science. It's about the science, right? I mean, our
You gotta have
graduates-
science. You do have to have that.
Yeah,
but
art and science, right? But brewing science is taught. We teach undergraduates in the first couple of years all the basic science stuff, right? So they're being trained just like how a doctor or nurse would be trained, and then they diverge in that second year into the third year into, you know, how do we apply that science to making beer? How do you become a chef in a brew house, right? Become a product formulator. But a big thing that's different here that you won't find in other universities is the fact that we teach business education at the same time. That is a major diversion of this university, which I think is right on the mark. So my role is to coordinate a heck of a talented cast of characters to be able to deliver that content, to constantly improve that content, meaning, you know, are we hitting the mark? Is there something we need to add? You know, we need to make inroads with industry experts and get their opinions, formulate what we're going to do, and quite honestly, just provide that 34 years of experience that I have in the brewing industry and applied in a university setting. And then to take advantage of these wonderful cooking opportunities to sample anything that I possibly can other than beer and wine. So there you go.
Well, sorry to disappoint you. I have wine.
Wine is good. Wine is good.
That's right.
How's that soup coming there?
It's coming along very nicely. Just turn the heat down just a little bit. It's still fairly aggressive there. I'm going to turn it down just one more time there. Kind of see how.
And so we've been
It's coming
asking
along.
some of our other new faculty or staff some questions. And some of them are new to Colorado. And so when they first started, we gave them all like our restaurants that we go to and everything. But you know, you've been here in Colorado for a long time, but what's your favorite restaurant right now?
If I had to tell you my favorite restaurant right now, I grew up in the Green Mountain area, and there used to be a fabulous restaurant up in that hall called Sims Landing.
Oh,
I think it's called the Sims Steakhouse now.
okay, yeah.
But you know, a dining experience should be, it always is about great food, right?
Mhm.
And you know, I don't think you're going to find much better than what you find at that steakhouse. But when you're sitting out on what they used to call the quarter deck, and you're looking out over Denver, and you get that whole vibe of what the restaurant is about, and then you have that experience with the food and the environment, I just think you just can't beat that, right? And so that's one of my favorite places to go.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever heard of that place.
Yeah, so my mom lives over there, and I know exactly what you're talking about. There used to be that.
6th Avenue in Union or 6th Avenue
Yeah.
in Sims.
Oh,
It's up
okay.
on the side of
There's that Jose O'Shea, or used to be Jose
It
O'Shea's.
still is.
Is it still?
Still there.
I haven't been there yet,
Yeah.
or in a long time.
Is that kind of the same area? I've heard of. There's a lot of mountain biking up there in that
Yeah,
area.
you know, if you go up
Yeah,
to
Green
Hayden
Mountain.
Park,
Yeah.
Green Mountain, Hayden Park, you
Yep.
go all the way to the top
Yeah.
of the hill. Great pictures at night up there. I
Okay.
can neither confirm nor deny. I have spent a few evenings up there, and it is quite spectacular.
All right.
Nice.
Very good. I'm going to go check that place out.
Cool. Well, should we do this with wine real quick? And then
Sure.
we'll give it some time to
Yeah. Let me just.
infuse with that nitro.
Yeah, this
Um,
whole wine thing, you're really delving into some complex chemistry here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah. And I'm counting on you for that complex chemistry. But we, like I said, we haven't tried this yet, but I think it's going to work out pretty well. We did it with coffee.
So what are you gonna use nitrogen?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nitrous oxide.
Nitrogen.
Yeah, nitrogen. But we do chill it, right? And so when it's colder, it absorbs like carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Cold liquids absorb gases better than warm liquids, right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And if you ever doubt that, just open up a warm beer bottle.
Yeah.
Trust me, okay? You're gonna have an experience. And
So we just pulled this out of the freezer. We're gonna pour this in here. You know, at home I have a tiny version of this whipped cream canister. This giant one is quite lovely, I must say.
Yeah, they are pretty fun to play with.
I could put more in here.
All right, so we've been going here for maybe 8 or 10 minutes, I guess. I actually just tasted it, tried a potato. It's fairly soft, so we have about another 5 more minutes, and this should be ready to blend. So it's going
All
fairly
right.
quickly.
So that's kind of a cool canister. Is that a self-sealing stainless steel?
Yeah, you got to put it together right. So you got to put this piece in here.
And it's funny, you talk about solubility of gases and stuff, and I literally remember being a freshman here. Well, not a freshman here, a sophomore here at Metro State. I'm not going to tell you the year I was here. I'm just not going to do that. But it was a while ago. And I have a very smart chemistry professor to thank for understanding the ideal gas laws, which govern the solubility of any gas in a liquid, right, or soluble gas. And he used examples of brewing. And at that time I had no idea in the future I would become a master brewer and do the whole academic thing and stuff.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of influenced you, though?
I learned more about chemistry from brewing than I ever learned in lecture about anything else. It just kind of grabs your attention, right?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we do here, though, with cooking, with hotels, events. All of our programs are all about learning hands-on and like taking that knowledge from the classroom and applying it directly, so that way you get that better understanding of it, right?
Yeah,
Because you can learn so much, but once you have to apply it at some point.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. Once you understand the scientific principles of how things work, then creativity really happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
We got one
So,
charge.
Jimmy, we know that gases are more soluble when it's cold, right? But what is the other thing that you need to improve solubility of gases in a liquid?
So surface area.
Surface area, that's right. So shake the crap out of that after you charge.
All right.
What's the other thing that makes a difference? Pressure.
Pressure.
That's right.
So we're pressurized in here, and I'm just gonna sit here and shake. I think we'll give it a few minutes.
It's going to
Jason,
shake it.
you
All
want,
right. Well, here,
you want
I'll
to tell
tell
me
you what-
another question?
Yeah, sure. So, Toby, what do you like to do for hobbies? What do you like to do for fun? And
Well,
while your
my
time's running out,
family
I'm
has
going to add
been
some.
my
happy
family has
here.
been here since my father's family's been here since the early 1900s. My wife's family, you're going to believe this, and I'll get to answering your question.
Sure.
But the original settlers of Parker, Elizabeth. My other side of the family was Fort
nice.
Morgan, Longmont, Lyons. And
Oh.
so we, long history here, and all of them were guys and gals who love to fish.
Yeah.
So I am an avid fly fisherman. I was a fly fisherman before fly fishing was cool, and so
Okay.
I was 10 years old casting flies and trying to figure out how it all worked. I do a lot of that. My wife and I have a wonderful chocolate lab, and we love to walk her around and stuff. So I just like being able to
Oh, the
sit
dog.
Yeah, you got.
And so
you gotta have
we were
a
talking
dog.
about chemistry. Like, you have a lab just for making chocolate?
Yeah, well, I have a lab to take fishing.
Yeah.
And I have a wife that allows me to go
I'm
fishing
tracking
because I
that.
take the lab. So that's a good thing.
Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
so we do a lot of fishing. We do a lot of what you would expect would be normal for guys and gals who live up and down the Front Range who like to be in the mountains.
Yeah.
So what a great area to live in,
Oh,
right? Very lucky.
It is. We are
Absolutely.
lucky.
Yeah.
You're losing your shake factor there. I just want you to know it's all
All
about
right,
surface
all
area.
right.
You gotta, you
Is this
really
my
gotta
arm
work
workout
it.
for the day?
You gotta work it.
I just
It's
gotta
like
make sure I
that-
don't
it's like-
drop it
what
and
was
break
that-
this off
that-
and then go flying across.
And
Was
don't
that-
hit the tap handle.
Yeah,
Don't get it
yeah.
caught shook in your.
All right, open your mouth.
Yeah, that would be really bad.
It's like that. It's like that exercise piece of exercise equipment.
Oh,
years
the shake
ago.
weight.
The shake weight.
Yeah, the one that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, the one that used to strap around.
Well, I mean, it works in the fact that you can shake it and it's a weight.
That works. That's right.
All right, well,
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take
I'll
out
let
this
this-
sprig of thyme here.
no more
Take that
time.
out.
So what
No more
flavor does
time.
thyme really contribute?
What's that?
I'm not a real good spice guy. What is the flavor that thyme really gives? How would you describe that flavor? Because we do this in brewing all the time. Describe flavors, right?
So to me, like fresh thyme has a slight. It has a slight petrol aroma to it, I think.
Village-
But it's still. I mean, it's.
It's almost lemony, like
It is. It is.
has
Yeah,
a,
but the
has
flavor
a brightness
though.
to it.
Yeah, it's very bright. I don't know. It just adds another. Like, I don't want to say floral, but I guess it's somewhat of a floral background
A little bit, yeah.
to foods. But then a lot of times I like to then finish things with fresh thyme as well, and that again that brings out more of that fresh thyme.
So one of the things that we teach students in brewing is that, obviously you got malt and you got other adjunct materials, sugar sources, and then you have this wonderful thing called hops, right?
Yeah.
And hops are a lot like thyme because they provide organic acids and esters and higher alcohols that are really heavily flavored. So when you describe that flavor of, kind of Venice kind of look, there's a lot of hops that ape that as well. And you put it in here, you get those same effects out of it.
Oh, interesting.
So you guys, we're just cooking, right? It's
Yeah,
just cooking, right?
Yeah.
We spice
Different
we
ingredients.
spice alcoholic beverages and we spice Vichyssoise.
That's right. Spice as well. That's right. All right. So
How those potatoes looking?
yeah, I'm going to double check our potatoes, make sure that we are good to go on that. That would be an apple. Now I have to dig through here. Ah, there's a potato right there.
How can you tell?
Because it's more lighter in color. It's more white in color than an apple.
It smashes easily when you
It
squeeze
smashes easily. That's right. Okay, so we are good on that. All right, so now I need to figure out how I'm going to get it into
So,
the blender.
while
didn't
you
bring- I
figure
didn't-
that out.
I didn't bring a ladle with me, so maybe I can't find a big spoon or something.
Wait, what is this? Oh, tongs.
This
Never mind,
time.
that's not a ladle. All right, while you figure that out, I'm gonna try this out. So,
Okay.
we've had a couple minutes. I was shaking it for a while, just kind of let it rest now. Okay, we'll do this right here.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And so, nitrogen bubbles are smaller
That's right.
than carbon dioxide, right?
That's correct.
So it has a little bit more of a silkier mouthfeel, right?
That's correct. And nitrogen is sparingly soluble, so you're probably going to get a lot of, like, if you were to add CO2 in that, you would actually get those bubbles rising.
Yeah.
The nitrogen doesn't really want to be in the liquid. It wants to be in the headspace. So that's why
Yeah, so that's why we had all that real quick.
But you're right about the bubble size. CO2 bubbles are tendency to be big, and nitrogen is small, so you get this thing called disproportionation, which causes them to collapse.
So I think it needs to be colder.
Yep.
And I think we can actually put this whole thing in there and let it sit a little bit longer.
And you know what?
Chill the whole thing down.
Put a little CO2 in it, and that'll make all the difference. Because most nitrogenated products are a blend of CO2 and
True.
nitrogen.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that because it's usually a blend that you put on the keg, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Honestly, we use the nitrogen as a push gas because if you put it under high pressure, since it's sparingly soluble, it doesn't want to be in the beer, so you can use it as a propellant.
Oh,
And then you
okay.
won't overcarbonate because we also know that gases act independently of each other in solution.
Mhm.
So at different pressures, they have different solubility potentials. See, I told you this is all about science, right?
Yeah.
So we teach our students about this science, and then they can apply that and be really creative with it. That's the whole point.
Do you have any CO2 downstairs?
I don't think so.
Oh.
All right, so we're going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper as well. Salt grinder kind of takes a long time here. Use a pinch, a big pinch. All right, a little bit of pepper here as well. A lot of times, some of these recipes where where the soup comes out white, people like to use white pepper. I don't like to use white pepper.
I don't like white pepper.
White pepper smells like cow manure to me.
Sparingly. You can use it sparingly.
Yeah.
But you have to use like a blend
It's
of
attractive.
black pepper, white pepper, and because they all hit the tongue in different spots, right?
Yeah.
So like black pepper is like in the middle, white pepper is kind of like more closer to your olfactor,
Yeah.
and then the red pepper is more on the outside of the tongue, that sting, that bite.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I like to use black, so. All right, so
And so just like beer
It's getting
and
brewing.
brewing,
Do you have your hearing protection on?
yeah. Now remember, just like we always do in Road Kitchen, right? Be sure that we put our cap completely tightly on, right? We cover with a towel, put our hand on it, make sure that nothing's going to explode out of there. We do not want a fountain of Vichyssoise.
yeah,
Yes.
always start low.
And we're starting low. All right, we'll gradually increase our speed here. We just let that blend. Blending nicely. What's interesting about using a blender in potatoes is that the more that you agitate russet potatoes, the starchier they get. Right? It's interesting that you do this in a blender, but
Yeah, well, russets
the russets aren't as sharp yet. I don't know if we can hear it, but like if you were doing that with a golden potato, like Yukon Gold, it'll like turn into glue. But also we have enough liquid in there that the glutens don't have. They can. It's not such a thick solution that like, they're not binding together and creating and sticking to each other. They have this
Exactly right.
loosener in between them.
That's exactly right.
liquid.
And that process is called gelatinization.
Yeah.
And so when you add a shear force through a blender like that, you're adding energy to the system and it causes that gelatinization to happen. So that's exactly right. You have the same issue in breweries. You know, if you over stir sugar solutions or raw starch sources, you can actually get things to gelatinize and thicken up way too quick. And so, how does it taste?
And then that can affect the head in the end, right?
It
like,
can.
With how much
Absolutely.
protein
And it
gets
also
extracted.
causes hazes and all kinds of unpredictable, what we would call physical instability in the beer. More than you guys ever wanted to know.
Which I feel like everybody wants a hazy.
Now, yeah, is that
now,
where
like,
the hazy?
Is that a different hazy?
Yeah, it's a different haze.
Okay.
That's a different
Alright.
hazy. Okay.
That's
All right, I'm gonna thin this out a little bit. I added, so I kept out about a half a cup of cream there, so I'm gonna add that back in. I've added it in. Now we'll add a little bit of half and half here. I think it can use definitely a ton more seasoning. Potatoes really eat a lot of salt, so it just takes a lot of salt to season this thing up. So,
And you guys
now-
ought to get paid to do this.
At this point, I don't want to whip it that much. You know, I just kind of want to incorporate everything. So I'm going to stir this in here a little bit. Stir all that salt
All mixed in there.
all mixed in there. All right, give it one more taste. Jimmy, what are you playing with over there now? You've got some pineapple puree over there.
Yeah, so not only were we going to try the nitro, but we're also going to do a pineapple sorbet and just kind of float that in with the white wine, which we are for sure doing tomorrow. Thank you. I think you almost need to be a permanent fixture here on Rogue Kitchen with your science.
Well, I'm not nearly as funny as you guys, but
But we'll add the CO2. I think I have some CO2 cartridges at home, so we can get that nice. What I'm hoping for is to get like that nice effect, like with a Guinness, which is a blended gas too. But we're also going to mix in a nice pineapple sorbet. And let me get one more scoop here. And this is just straight pineapple pureed in the Vitamix and then frozen.
I would probably pick a nice Prosecco and try to gas it with a little nitrogen and then do that very thing. And then you get the whole theater thing, right? You get that wonderful foam, but then it's going to go away real quick because the foam won't be stable at all.
Yeah. Now we could foam it. I have magic foam, which is a blend of different things that will actually
So
make the foam stay.
did you notice right away that the foam is staying better? Why is that?
You think it's the extra time?
No, I think it's.
Or you think it's
what
the
did you just
sugar?
put in there? Is that a water based?
It's a water-based. I mean, it's
But there's
just
probably
pureed
some-
pineapple.
There's probably some protein in here, isn't there?
Mhm.
And so when you add a dissolved gas in solution charge, and then you add protein to it, that helps to stabilize those bubbles because it provides a surface tension on the film layer of the
Right.
bubbles,
Oh, okay.
and that's why the foam is sticking around. So man, I'd just go for that. Oh,
Is that
so
why?
That's you.
Is that why egg whites? Why is that why we whip egg whites?
that's exactly right.
Oh. I mean, I always knew like whenever you whip egg whites, the proteins kind of expand and really grab a hold of stuff. But that's very interesting how you explain it that way. So
It stabilizes. It's like a film that creates it. They're usually carbohydrates.
Mm.
In beer, it would be hop acids, metal ions, and then they're going to have this residual viscosity. But
Okay.
you really need to have that protein. We call them hydrophobic proteins that come from malts,
Yeah.
and it stabilizes the foam.
Huh.
I shake like crazy, so I gotta have two hands here. Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful smell.
All right. So while Toby's trying his beverage over there, I'm going to go ahead and pour in
So do we
our
have more of
soup.
this?
Yep. Now you would let this chill You can make this the night before or the morning before you're going to serve this.
Yep.
But you want to let it at least chill.
Let it chill.
But then, so you want it chilled, but you also want to take it out a little bit early because you don't want it ice cold. Otherwise, all the flavors don't really come out. Some of those flavors, flavonoids, get kind of hidden and packed away. But as is just like with wine, just like with beer, as it starts to come up in temperature, those flavors will open up and you get a little bit more. Yeah, volatilize. That's the word.
And when it hits your tongue, that's what happens. That's why you always winemakers are always rolling it in their mouth. Just to volatilize all those flavors. It goes right up into the back.
Or the slurp.
Yep, and then the sip is about oxygenating or aerating. That's right. More than you ever want to know. Again, that's what we try to stress here, right? Let's learn the science so that we can be creative.
That's it.
And it's kind of nerdy too, so it's sort of fun.
Yeah. Oh, what's fun too is when you get students who get really nerdy on it, and they start talking shop and stuff.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this? That'll be new, but do you taste the mouthfeel difference?
Yeah.
I mean, the viscosity is way higher. It's thicker, typical with nitrogen.
Yeah.
So I think you've achieved the goal. So good on you. I think the theory works.
Yeah, I think what we didn't, it wasn't a good experiment because we don't have we should have tasted the wine first, so that we could have seen the difference and everything. But just going based on like typical white wines, like, and even putting the pineapple in here, you could tell that some of that nitrogen is still in solution, and it's being released as it's kind of interacting with that pineapple.
It'll create surface area for nucleation and breakdown. We really are geeks, aren't we?
Oh, hey, I'm learning.
Would you like it's kind of fun.
I'm learning a ton here. So
let's use 3 different glasses.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to try to get a close up here of this soup. Right here.
Yeah, before it disappears.
Yeah, nice and creamy looking.
So what's the floaty stuff on the top?
A little bit of chopped parsley on there. You notice that once that parsley hits that warm soup, it really turns bright green. Of course, in a colder soup, it may not.
Come back up here. We'll do Jason's.
That's fabulous.
There we go. Here's your taste, Jason.
Thank you.
That's what we call real theater right there, guys.
Well, that's kind of the fun part. And so you were saying earlier with Sim's Landing, that like the food's got to be good. And so yes, the food, the beverage, everything has to be good. But what really makes it is the experience, right? And that showpiece, and like watching someone pour a wine out of nitro into your glass, just it's something you haven't seen before. It's just a new experience, and that's what we try to create here, and it's what we try to teach our students how to create for the public wherever they're working right now, in their future jobs, so that way we can just elevate hospitality just that next notch up, right? We just keep ratcheting it up.
I love that. You're absolutely right. It is about experience, isn't it? I mean, not to be too esoteric here, but as humans, we thrive on community, right? And so the more that you can share about your background, your diversity, your story, if you're making a beer or a Vichyssoise or a wonderfully nitrogenated fruity wine drink, which is, I'm telling you, Jimmy, that's great. Okay. But the more of the experience of how you did it, why you did it, and you share that with the people there, you're really bringing an experiential quality that's going to be unsurpassed. This is why it's so much fun to watch cooking classes, right? I mean, you're really watching a personality. But cooking, not difficult. There's a lot of tricks and stuff, right? But it's about that interaction. It's about that experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, wow, well done, guys. I think we should talk about all beer next time, though. I'm just saying. Maybe we can talk about
beer.
Flavored malt beverages, or maybe cider, or because we talk about a lot of things here. It's not just about beer, right?
Oh yeah, beer, cider, wine, food, events, travel, recreation, hotels,
experiences.
Yeah, it's all experience, and and that's really what we're selling. Is the experience.
Right? Yeah. Very good. I think we have one last question for Toby, right?
Oh yeah. So we've asked everybody else before, but like, where do you see the hospitality industry going, or for you even specifically, where do you see the beer industry going?
So you want the
Right
business answer to that, or do you want the emotional answer to that? I'll give you the business answer. We see unprecedented wealth in the world today, don't we? I mean, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at what is going on in the financial markets, you look at it, and you always have to look to the future to be better than it is today. Because if we look at the future and go, oh, it's going to be crappy in the next 10 years, not much to live for. So we always have to be looking forward. So I predict that leisure time is going to be even more important and more precious in the future. But I think we're going to be more efficient as consumers, and I think we'll have more time to enjoy it. So what a great time to be a master brewer or an executive chef or somebody who does a great job of doing tours, tourism, hospitality. Quite honestly, there's a lot of expendable income. Mm-hmm. And the better you are at, creating connections between people, the more successful you will be. So I would just tell everybody, take care of everybody, have fun. I always say, if we're not having fun, we're not doing it right. And I would tell you guys, you're doing it right. And I've only been here 15 days, so just take that to the bank, okay?
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice.
All right. Well, I think the soup is delicious. I can't
Success
wait.
on that.
I can't wait to taste it
Well, I
when
guess-
it chills down.
And apparently it could sit forever because it's cold, right? We don't have to worry
Well, so there's that temperature too.
Yeah, there is
about
a
it.
that.
Okay.
This should go into the fridge and we should chill it
Yeah.
and then bring it out when we're ready. Let it come up to temp a little bit, but you do want to get it cooled down so you don't spend too much time in that danger zone where bacteria can start to grow. And
That's good.
Especially with dairy and potatoes in there.
Yeah.
So.
Now, if you're going to serve it with the next 4 hours, you can just let it come down to room temp. But I think it should have that little bit of a chill, like cellar temp, right? Like 55 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's cooler, feels cool on the mouth, but it's not cold.
Right. Unlike beer, because beer, if you let it just sit out and get warm, nothing can grow in it that can kill you or hurt you.
Yeah.
Right? Unlike this thing right here, if something
Yeah.
drops in it from the air, that could be bad.
Jimmy, I think your drink is great. It does have a slight creamy flavor, texture to it. The viscosity in there.
Yeah, so I think pouring it with the pineapple in there first and then pouring it so that way you get that.
Breaks the gas out, it
Yeah.
combines with protein, stabilizes the foam. I think you're onto something here. We called that blind luck, but I would say that you did a little research in that, and so sound science and application right there.
There we go. Well,
That's it.
we play with our food.
We do play with our food.
And our booze.
Absolutely. Toby, thank you so much for joining us today. Learned a ton about science stuff. As I always say, that it never sticks at first. It just kind of has to marinate for a little bit. So that's sometimes it.
No quick pickles.
Yeah, no quick pickles on. It's sometimes it has to just kind of to marinate and steep for a little bit there. But thank you very much for coming on and sharing with us the great information and wonderful insight. Hope I get to sit in one of your classes someday and just listen to you. I think definitely think it would be a lot of fun. So
We'll share experiences. That's what it's all about.
No.
that's it.
No.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks for
And
joining us.
maybe in 30 days I might have a different opinion, but everything's looking good now.
Good. Well, we'll try to keep up that standard for you. So.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you all for joining us. And
We'll see you next time.
I guess until then, or until next time.
So appropriately,
Take care.
cheers.
Oh,
Cheers.
yes. Cheers. You can't cheers without clinking.
Not clinking. That's it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. I'm stealing
you.
this, okay? Because
Yep.
this is